That is bolted in. Welcome to the Restore It Ralph channel. It's time to get this engine back in the Jeep and out of the work bay. One of the first steps is to take this thing off the stand and put it on the crane, put the motor plate in before the flywheel. Then I can put the clutch on and then I guess start dropping this thing down in there. Now, first things first though, this Jeep, well, was a pile of junk. So looking down in that bell housing, there's like old mouse nest soaked in oil. So I gotta scrape that out of there, gotta clean that out. I'm not looking forward to doing that, but it's time. When I bought this Jeep, it had been sitting in a barn for who knows how long. I paid $250 for this thing and got it running. Actually, before I loaded it on the trailer, but I had to use my hand come-along winch to pull it on the trailer. So this thing might have been sitting for a very long time before I rescued it out of that guy's barn. Bell housing cleaned up good enough, and I remembered to put my new throwout bearing in this time. When I did the 24-hour V8 swap in my Dakota video, I forgot that, and then ended up pulling the trans back out. So I'm gonna try and slow down a little bit and do it correctly, or at least closer. I never had a problem with the clutch in this Jeep, but it only made 26 horsepower too. So it looks like this thing, probably the rim mainsail bit taken on it. And then this thing sat for a long time. So I should have had this flywheel resurfaced, but I didn't. So I'm gonna clean it up, maybe run the DA over it, get it close enough. All right, so that looks terrible. It's like a bolt or something else had been rolling around in there, or somebody hammered on it or something. So luckily that's not on the clutch mating surface. But the clutch mating surface, you can see signs of the clutch disc being rusted on there from sitting. Some grooving. I can't feel this groove with my fingernail. I can definitely feel this edge where the clutch disc wears into it. So this really needs ground. I'm not gonna do it. I wanna get this thing back together. This is the old bronze style pilot bushing, and it actually drives into the flywheel, not the end of the crankshaft like most cars do. So I'm going to use the old school method of filling up the center and then using hydraulic pressure to squeeze that oil into the bushing, so that bushing actually absorbs some oil and keeps it lubricated. If I do this right, you should be able to see it almost like sweat the oil through it. I'm gonna call that good. Pilot bushing's in. I think it's time to get the engine off the stand, start assembling this thing. Got these two bolts hanging out in the flange of the block here for the bell housing. I'm gonna slip this plate on. I made to move this out of the way to get to the back side of these because these are bolts and nuts for the flywheel. I also don't know, these new bolts that I've got in here are just maybe 1/8 of an inch longer. I may take the flap wheel after I get them tightened up and just knock the tips off of those so that way they don't interfere with the clutch at all. In here, this bolt and this bolt hole are drilled larger, and that would go on these tapered swedge style studs. So I'll put that back on the way it was, hopefully. Hopefully the rest of them won't be quite so awkward since they're just bolts and nuts. Those are the two swedge style tapered seat ones. After a test fit of the clutch disc, just kind of looking at it, I don't think I need to clearance those bolts. I think they're going to be just fine. It would have been a whole lot cooler if my bolt didn't break off from my clutch. I was drawing them in evenly. I heard a crack, and there it was. So, dang it. This only worked because it was not rusted in there. All right. All right, I guess we'll try this again. I had some grade 8s in the bolt bin. See if these will fit. In both books, I could not find a torque spec for the clutch pressure plate. So I had it set on 30, thinking, yeah. And then, well, 30 felt like it was gonna strip this thing out. Ugh. There's 25. If it comes loose, I know why. All right, it's moving the Jeep. That means it's in. Lined up. This is the kind of stuff that takes time. The new motor mounts, the stud is a little bit too long to fit in between the frame bracket and the engine mount bracket. So I threaded the nut on here, grinding a little bit off of it, and see if I can get that thing in there. For having an access panel, these are kind of a pain in the butt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like if they just had threaded bosses in the block, it'd be super easy, but
Oh yeah.
this is a pain in the butt because you can't get your hand. It's a two-person job, really.
Yeah. That's pretty tight.
Sounds good. If you're getting the plugs, I'll get the carburetor.
Is 30 thousandths pretty standard as far as spark plug gap goes?
For older stuff, yeah, I would say like 25 to 30 thousandths on like small engines and stuff like that.
Because that's what the 73 is. That one was 30
Was
thousand.
it 30? Yeah, 30 to 35 on old like point type stuff.
Yeah.
Usually, like when you get to HEI, the high energy ignition,
Uh-huh.
they gap them bigger than that, like 40 to 60 even. On really old cars, like those Model A's, actually didn't have spark plug wires. They had little metal straps, and you would actually have finger tight wing nut, or not wing nuts, but thumb nuts that would actually thread those spark plug straps on. Now that I'm done cussing, I can resume filming and not have to resort to bleeping it out. Not that anybody's family wants to watch this show, but just in case. Worked for a couple hours this afternoon, and the engine is bolted in. So the motor mounts are in, bell housing bolts are in, starting to put some accessories on, and within a couple days, going to fill it with oil and fire it up, see what we got with this new, to me, rebuilt engine. Got off work today and just did some simple, boring nut and bolt stuff. So I got the oil filter housing installed, starter installed, some of the fuel lines and carburetor linkage back on. I gotta reroute the ignition wires, but I don't feel like doing that right now. I don't have coolant in it, but I think I'm gonna try and just crank it over and make sure the starter works. New clutch. Okay. My coil wire needs repaired because when I took it apart, the end came off of it. So I think this is a perfect time to try cranking this thing over and seeing if I can get oil pressure to build. I'd like to see some oil pressure on the gauge before I fire this thing up. Get the starter to brake. At 4.5 quarts of 20W50, so it might take a little bit to stir up that thick oil. I think I see it barely moving, but I'm not in love with that. I guess it's that time to give it a try. Always see if I have any leaks. Don't see any fuel leaks. Alright, there's an accelerator squirt. Choke. See what it'll do. Not too bad. That's full choke. Should have hooked that up. I have no idea where the timing is either, so move the timing a little bit. See. coolant and no radiator in it, so I think I'm gonna stop. But that is a huge success. This thing is also going to need a valve adjustment, so that's why I didn't use RTV on any of the gaskets. Instead, to get this thing, set it in the ballpark cold, let it warm up, and then set it hot. So that's what I'll be doing soon. The shop has that new engine smell where the fresh paint is burning off. I'm going to fire this thing up again and show you guys the oil pressure. So earlier, my oil pressure was way less. I wonder if I had some air in the line, which is very likely, because it was way less oil pressure than that. That is good news, because with the main clearances being on the big side, I was kind of worried about that. Sounding pretty good. That's the hood rattling against the windshield, so I think we're good. Sounding good. I may have a little bit of an exhaust leak, and I know it needs a valve adjustment, but that's pretty good. Well, the engine is back in the Jeep, and it is running, so I am pretty happy with that. This never-ending project still is going on. I got to put coolant in it. I got the radiator back in it and all that stuff. You can see my breath out here. It's cold in the shop. I turned the heater off. So I'm going to call it for the day and then maybe get this thing out and ripping in the snow in just a little bit. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Restore It Ralph channel.